The sound of laughter stopped me dead in my tracks. Not just any laughter. I knew those voices. One belonged to my husband Collins, and the other, that giggle I'd heard since childhood, belonged to my sister Allison. They were coming from our bedroom, and something in my gut told me this wasn't an innocent conversation. I'm Yesenia, and until that moment, I thought I had it all figured out. A successful criminal lawyer, a beautiful home, a loving husband, and a close-knit family. Funny how life can shatter everything you believe in with just one moment. My hand trembled as I reached for the doorknob. The door wasn't completely closed. They hadn't even bothered to shut it properly. The afternoon sun streaming through our bedroom windows illuminated them perfectly. Collins and Allison, tangled in our sheets, on the bed where I slept every night. "What the hell is this?" My voice came out steadier than I expected. They jumped apart like guilty teenagers. Allison grabbed at the sheets, while Collins just sat there, mouth hanging open. "Yesenia," Allison's voice cracked. We, save it." I held up my hand. "How long?" Collins finally found his voice. "Baby, let's talk about this." "How long?" 6 months, Allison whispered. 6 months. While I was working late nights, preparing for court cases, while I was planning our anniversary dinner, while I was confiding in my sister about trying to start a family, they were sleeping together. "Get out," I said quietly. "Yesenia, please," Collins started. "Get out." I grabbed the nearest object, a crystal vase, our wedding gift, and hurled it against the wall. It shattered spectacularly, making them both flinch. They scrambled to get dressed, Allison crying, Collins trying to approach me. I backed away from him like he was contaminated. "Don't you dare touch me," I warned, "either of you." "We never meant to hurt you," Allison sobbed, now fully dressed. "It just happened." I laughed, and the sound was hollow even to my own ears. "Just happened? Like you just happened to fall into bed with my husband? In my house?" "I'll explain everything," Collins pleaded. "We can work this out." "Work what out?" I stepped closer to him, my voice dropping to a whisper. "The fact that my husband and my sister have been fucking behind my back. Please, explain how we work that out." Allison reached for my arm. "Sis," I jerked away from her touch. "Don't call me that. You lost that right the moment you decided to sleep with my husband." "What are you going to do?" Collins asked, his eyes darting between me and the door. I smiled then, and something in my expression made them both take a step back. "Do? I'm going to watch you both leave this house right now, and then—" I paused, letting the tension build. "I'm going to make sure you both understand exactly what consequences mean." "Are you threatening us?" Allison's voice shook. "Threatening? No." I walked to the bedroom door and held it open. "I'm promising you both something. Now get out." They left, Collins trying one more time to explain. But I shut him down with a look that could freeze hell. I watched from the window as they got into separate cars and drove away, probably to call each other the moment they were out of sight. My phone buzzed. Savannah, my best friend, calling for our daily chat. I let it go to voicemail. Instead, I walked to our home office, opened my laptop, and pulled up our joint bank accounts. First things first, secure the assets. Being a criminal lawyer had taught me that much. As I transferred money into my personal account, my hands stopped shaking. The initial shock was wearing off, replaced by something colder, more calculated. I'd spent years defending people who'd done terrible things, understanding their motivations, their weaknesses. Now, for the first time, I was going to use that knowledge for my own purposes. My phone buzzed again, this time with a text from Allison. "Please, can we talk? I'm so sorry." I didn't respond. Instead, I opened my contacts and scrolled to Rachel, a businesswoman I'd met during a corporate fraud case. She'd mentioned owing me a favor after I'd helped her sister avoid jail time. "Rachel, it's Yesenia. Remember that favor you owe me? I need your help with something. Let's call it a business opportunity." As I hung up, I caught my reflection in the window. The woman staring back at me wasn't the trusting wife or loving sister I'd been this morning. She was someone else entirely, someone with a score to settle. My phone lit up with another text from Collins. I love you. We can fix this. I deleted it without responding. They wanted to play games. Fine. But they were about to learn that nobody plays them better than a woman with nothing left to lose. You need to eat something, Savannah said, pushing a plate of pancakes across my kitchen counter. It had been 3 days since I'd caught them, and I hadn't told anyone except her. I'm not hungry. I was too busy scrolling through my phone, reading the dozens of messages from both Collins and Allison, each one more desperate than the last. Girl, you're going to need your strength for what comes next. Savannah sat beside me, her dark eyes serious. Whatever you're planning, and I know you're planning something, you can't do it running on coffee and rage. I picked up my fork and took a small bite. I'm not planning anything. I'm just processing. Please. She rolled her eyes. I've known you since law school. You don't process, you plot. My phone buzzed again. Collins, coming by to pick up some clothes. Can we please talk? I typed back. Fine, 30 minutes. Savannah raised an eyebrow. You're letting him come over. Sometimes you have to let the fish think it's escaping before you tighten the net. I stood up and walked to my bedroom, pulling out Collins' favorite suits from the closet. What are you doing? Savannah followed me. Creating an opportunity, I laid the suits on the bed, then pulled out my phone and dialed. Rachel, are you free for coffee tomorrow? Perfect. The doorbell rang exactly 30 minutes later. Collins stood there looking appropriately disheveled, his usually perfect hair a mess. Yesenia. He stepped forward, but I held up my hand. Your clothes are on the bed. Take them and go. Please, can we talk? What happened with Allison? It was a mistake, a horrible mistake. I laughed, the sound bitter even to my own ears. A mistake is forgetting to pay a bill. A mistake is burning dinner, fucking my sister for 6 months. That's a choice. I'll do anything to fix this. His voice cracked. We can go to counseling, take time to heal. Actually, I cut him off. I've been thinking about what you said, about fixing things. Hope flickered in his eyes. Too easy. I'm willing to discuss our situation, but not right now. I need time. Of course, anything you need. He reached for my hand, but I pulled away. I have a business dinner next week. Come to that. We can talk afterward. Business dinner? A new venture I'm considering. Something that might help us both move forward. I watched his expression carefully. Financially speaking. His eyes lit up exactly as I knew they would. Collins never could resist the smell of money. What kind of venture? We'll discuss it at dinner. Bring Allison. He blinked. What? Bring Allison. I enunciated each word clearly. If we're going to move past this, we all need to be adults about it. Besides, she's family. She should be involved in family business decisions, don't you think? Collins nodded slowly, clearly confused, but not wanting to question his good fortune. After he left with his suits, Savannah emerged from the kitchen where she'd been listening. Okay, now I'm worried, she said. That was too easy. You're up to something. I picked up my phone and dialed Rachel again. Rachel, we're on for next week. Yes, they took the bait. Time for phase 2. Hanging up, I turned to Savannah. Remember that corporate fraud case I handled last year? The one with the fake investment scheme? The one where the victims lost millions? Yeah, why? Her eyes widened. Oh no. Yesenia, what are you planning? Nothing illegal, I smiled. Just a little lesson in karma. You're going to set them up with a fake business opportunity. Not me, Rachel. She's going to present them with an investment opportunity too good to resist. Something that plays right into their greed. And then what? Then we watch them dig their own graves. I picked up my coffee cup. They think they can just apologize and everything goes back to normal. They're about to learn that betrayal has consequences. This could backfire, Savannah warned. It won't, because unlike them, I know exactly what I'm doing. I pulled out my laptop. Now help me draft this business proposal. It needs to be perfect. You're scary when you're plotting revenge. You know that? I looked up at her, my expression serious. They should have thought about that before they decided to destroy my life. Now they get to learn why my clients call me the Ice Queen in court. My phone buzzed with a text from Allison. Collins told me about dinner next week. Thank you for giving us a chance. I showed the message to Savannah, who shook her head. They really have no idea what's coming, do they? No, I replied, deleting the message. But they will. Oh, they will. The key is to make it believable, but just slightly too good to be true, Rachel said, sliding a folder across the table at the upscale cafe where we were meeting. Like any good con, it needs to prey on their desires. I opened the folder, scanning the meticulously crafted business proposal. Luxury real estate investment with guaranteed returns. People get stupid when they see the words luxury and guaranteed in the same sentence. Rachel sipped her espresso. Your husband works in finance, right? Investment banking. I couldn't keep the bitterness from my voice. And my sister's been trying to break into real estate for years. Perfect. They'll think they're smart enough to spot any red flags. Rachel leaned forward. But here's the brilliant part. Everything will appear legitimate. The company, the paperwork, even the initial returns. They'll just have to invest a significant amount up front. How much? $500,000 each. Rachel's eyes glinted. Think they'll bite? I thought about Colin's desperate texts, Allison's pathetic attempts to apologize. They will if they think it'll help get back in my good graces. Speaking of which, a familiar voice called out. I turned to see Melvin, my colleague from the law firm. Approaching our table, Melvin, I stood to greet him. What brings you here? Same as you. Coffee and conspiracies. He gestured to the empty chair. Mind if I join? I glanced at Rachel, who nodded slightly. Melvin had helped me with some of my tougher cases. Having another legal mind on our side couldn't hurt. So, Melvin said, after ordering his coffee, I heard about Collins and Allison. The whole firm's talking about it. Wonderful, I muttered. Don't worry, he assured me. They're all on your side. In fact, he pulled out his phone, showing me a text. Collins tried to reach out to me yesterday, wanted to know if I could talk some sense into you. And? I told him I don't represent cheating bastards. Melvin's usual gentle expression hardened. But I'm curious about what you're planning. This doesn't look like a casual coffee meeting. Rachel and I exchanged looks. Finally, I pushed the folder toward him. Tell me if you see any legal issues with this. Melvin read through the documents, his eyebrows rising higher with each page. This is elaborate and completely legal, technically speaking. But Yesenia, he looked up at me. This is going to destroy them. They destroyed me first. I'm not judging. Just making sure you understand what you're doing. He handed the folder back. When's the meeting? Tonight. At La Maison. I checked my watch. In about 4 hours. Need backup? I shook my head. Rachel will handle the presentation. I just need to play my part, the forgiving wife, considering a fresh start. You're a better actor than I thought, Rachel commented. The way you've been handling their messages, they really believe you're warming up to them. My phone buzzed. Allison. Getting ready for dinner. Thank you for giving us this chance. Love you, sis. I showed them the message. Melvin whistled low. They have no idea they're walking into a trap, do they? That's the point. I stood up, gathering my things. I need to get ready. Rachel, you'll have everything set up. Hidden cameras, microphones, the works. By the time they realize what's happening, it'll be too late. I left the cafe and headed home to prepare. The black dress I chose was perfect, elegant, but not too forgiving. When I arrived at La Maison, Collins and Allison were already there, sitting awkwardly at opposite ends of the table. Yesenia, Collins stood up, looking hopeful. You look beautiful. Save it, I said, but without the earlier venom. Let's just get through this dinner. I ordered your favorite wine, Allison offered timidly. Before I could respond, Rachel arrived, perfectly playing her role as the successful business owner. Sorry I'm late, she announced, setting her briefcase down. Traffic was horrible. You must be Collins and Allison. Yesenia's told me so much about you. I watched as Rachel worked her magic, weaving a tale of exclusive investment opportunities and guaranteed returns. Collins leaned forward, his banker's mind already calculating profits. Allison's eyes gleamed with the possibility of finally making it big in real estate. Of course, Rachel said smoothly. The buy-in is significant. $500,000 each. Each? Allison paled slightly. It's a lot of money, Collins agreed. But the returns are guaranteed, Rachel finished. And as Yesenia's family, you'd have priority positions. I took a sip of wine, hiding my smile as they exchanged glances. The trap was set. Now all I had to do was watch them walk right into it. When do you need an answer? Collins asked. Rachel smiled. Why don't we schedule another meeting for tomorrow? Give you time to look over the numbers. As they eagerly agreed, I caught a glimpse of our reflection in the restaurant's window. 3 people sharing a meal, looking for all the world like a family working things out. If only they knew what was really on the menu. They signed the papers this morning, Rachel announced, walking into my office and closing the door behind her. Both of them, $500,000 each, just like we planned. I looked up from my case files. Did they seem suspicious at all? Are you kidding? Collins was practically salivating over the projected returns. And Allison, Rachel smirked. She kept talking about how this would finally prove she could make it in high-end real estate. My phone buzzed. A text from Collins. Just made the transfer. This feels right. Like a fresh start for all of us. Dinner tonight. They really think this investment is going to fix everything, I muttered, showing Rachel the message. That's what makes it perfect. Rachel sat down across from me. The hidden cameras are already recording their private conversations. Want to see what they said after our meeting yesterday? She pulled out her tablet and played a video. The footage showed Collins and Allison in his office, clearly excited. This is it, Collins was saying. Once we turn this profit, Yesenia will have to take us seriously. She'll see we can all benefit from this. I don't know, Allison replied. Something feels too easy about this. Don't be stupid, Collins snapped. Rachel's company is legitimate. I checked. And Yesenia wouldn't steer us wrong. Not with her reputation at stake. I clicked the tablet off, unable to watch more. They're still trying to manipulate me, even now. A knock at my door interrupted us. It was Melvin. Sorry to interrupt, but you need to see this. He handed me his phone. On it was a social media post from Allison, announcing her exciting new venture into luxury real estate development. She's already bragging about it, Rachel laughed. This is better than we planned. How long until the first returns come in? I asked. 2 weeks, Rachel replied. Just long enough for them to start telling everyone about their amazing investment. Speaking of which, she pulled out another folder. These are all the people they've already approached about investing. They're trying to bring in their friends. Of course they are. I wasn't surprised. Greed makes people stupid. My office phone rang. It was Savannah. Turn on the business news, she said without preamble. Channel 7. I grabbed the remote and flicked on the wall-mounted TV. There was Collins, giving an interview about market trends. The crawler at the bottom mentioned his exciting new venture in luxury real estate development. He's using this to boost his profile at the bank, Melvin observed. Let him, I said coldly. It'll make the fall that much harder. My phone buzzed again. This time it was Allison. Having drinks with potential investors tonight. Want to join? Show everyone how we're moving forward as a family? They're really milking this reconciliation angle, Rachel noted, reading over my shoulder. I typed back, can't tonight, but good luck with the investors. You know, Melvin said thoughtfully, we could speed up the timeline. The more people they try to drag into this, the more evidence we'll have of their greed. No, I shook my head. Let them dig their hole deeper. Every person they try to recruit is another witness to their character. Rachel's phone chimed. The first wire transfer just cleared. Want to see what they do with the money? Track it, I nodded. Every penny. The next few hours were a blur of activity. Collins and Allison were working overtime, reaching out to their social circles, bragging about their exclusive investment opportunity. Each message, each social media post, each conversation was carefully recorded and documented. By evening, my phone was flooded with messages from mutual friends, asking about the investment opportunity. I forwarded them all to Rachel, who added them to our evidence file. Dinner reservation for tonight confirmed, Rachel said, checking her phone. They're bringing 3 potential investors. Hidden cameras are already in place. Good. I stood up, gathering my things. Make sure the audio is clear. We need every word. You're not coming? Melvin asked. No. Let them think I'm too busy with work. Besides, I smiled grimly. They're more likely to show their true colors when I'm not around. As I drove home that night, I received one final text from Collins. Miss you. The investment is already opening doors. Soon we'll have everything we ever wanted. I didn't reply. Instead, I called Rachel. How's dinner going? They're promising returns of 300% to their friends. She laughed. Want me to send you the live feed? No, I declined. Just record everything. They think they're building their future, but they're actually documenting their own downfall. You know, Rachel said seriously, when this all comes out, it's going to be brutal. Good, I replied, pulling into my driveway. They should have thought about that before they decided to play games with my life. The house was dark and empty, but for the first time since discovering their betrayal, I didn't feel alone. I had something they didn't. The truth on my side. And soon, very soon, that truth would come crashing down on them like a tidal wave. Play it again, I told Rachel, leaning forward in my office chair. The video on her laptop showed Collins and Allison in a private meeting room, their true colors finally on display. These idiots will believe anything, Collins was saying, laughing. And Yesenia, she's so desperate to reconcile, she's practically throwing money at us. I almost feel bad, Allison giggled. Almost. Rachel paused the video. Ready to pull the trigger, I checked my watch. It was exactly 2 weeks since they'd invested, the day their first returns were supposed to arrive. Instead, they were about to receive something very different. Do it, I nodded. Rachel pressed a button on her laptop, and within seconds, the carefully edited video compilation began uploading to multiple social media platforms. Every nasty comment, every greedy scheme, every manipulation they'd planned, all caught on camera over the past 2 weeks. My phone immediately started buzzing. First was Allison. What the hell is this video? Call me now. Then Collins. Baby, this isn't what it looks like. Please let me explain. The office door burst open. Melvin rushed in, his tie askew. It's everywhere. Every major financial news outlet has picked it up. Collins's bank is already issuing a statement distancing themselves from him. My phone rang. Savannah. Girl, you need to turn on the news. They're running the story about the fake investment scheme. Collins and Allison are being portrayed as the masterminds. I switched on the TV. Sure enough, there they were, their faces plastered across the screen. The headline read, Investment Scandal Rocks Financial Community. Ms. Gross. My assistant appeared at the door. There are reporters in the lobby asking for comments about your husband's investment scheme. Tell them I'll be issuing a statement this afternoon. I turned to Rachel. Are the financial records ready? She nodded, handing me a thick folder. All their attempts to recruit other investors, documented and time-stamped. The DA's office is very interested. My phone buzzed again. A text from one of Collins's colleagues. He's being escorted out of the building. Board meeting called for immediate termination. Yesenia, Allison's voice rang through the office as she burst in, mascara running down her face. How could you do this to us? I stood up slowly, feeling eerily calm. How could I? That's rich coming from you. We trusted you, she screamed. This investment was supposed to be our fresh start. Like I trusted you with my husband. I stepped closer to her. The only difference is, I have proof of your betrayal. Every scheming conversation, every manipulative plan, all recorded for the world to see. You set us up, she whispered. No, you set yourselves up. I just gave you enough rope to hang yourselves with. I gestured to Rachel. Show her. Rachel played another video clip. This time of Allison and Collins planning to use the investment scheme to convince their friends to invest their life savings. That was private, Allison gasped. Nothing is private when you're plotting to scam people, I replied coldly. By the way, how many of your friends invested based on your recommendations? The DA will want to know. The color drained from her face. The DA? Did you really think I wouldn't report a $500,000 investment fraud? I smiled. I am a criminal lawyer, after all. My phone rang again. Collins. I put it on speaker. How dare you? He shouted. I've just been fired. My reputation is ruined. Funny how karma works, isn't it? I replied calmly. By the way, the board might be interested in some other recordings I have about certain creative accounting practices you've been using. You wouldn't, he breathed. Try me. Allison sank into a chair, finally understanding the magnitude of what was happening. What do you want from us? Want? I don't want anything from you. I already have what I wanted, justice. I sat back down at my desk. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have a press conference to prepare for. I believe the media is very interested in hearing from the whistleblower who exposed this investment fraud. You're going to destroy us, Allison whispered. No, I corrected her. You destroyed yourselves. I just made sure everyone else could see who you really are. Security arrived to escort Allison out. As she left, she turned back one last time. We're still family. No, I cut her off. We stopped being family the moment you chose betrayal over loyalty. Now get out of my office. After she left, Rachel turned to me. You okay? I looked at my phone, now flooding with messages from reporters, colleagues, and friends. I'm better than okay. I'm free. The DA wants to meet tomorrow morning, Melvin added. They're particularly interested in the evidence of Collins' other financial misconduct. I nodded, watching the news coverage continue to unfold. My phone buzzed with one final text from Collins. You'll regret this. I typed back, no, you'll regret ever thinking you could outsmart me. Enjoy explaining this to the SEC. Then, I turned off my phone and smiled. Sometimes, the best revenge isn't just serving justice. It's making sure the whole world knows exactly who deserves it. The SEC has officially launched an investigation into Collins' trading activities, Melvin announced, dropping a newspaper on my desk. It had been 3 weeks since the exposure, and the fallout kept growing. His lawyer reached out again, I said, scrolling through my emails. Wants to discuss a settlement. And Allison? Lost her real estate license. Turns out promising guaranteed returns on fake investments is frowned upon by the licensing board. I couldn't keep the satisfaction from my voice. My office door opened, and Savannah walked in with coffee. You two need to see this. She pulled up a social media post on her phone. It was Allison posting a tearful video apology. I've lost everything, she sobbed in the video. My license, my reputation, my sister, all because of one terrible mistake. One mistake that lasted 6 months. I muttered. Keep watching, Savannah urged. The video continued. But Yesenia, if you're watching this, please know I'm truly sorry. Not just for the affair, but for trying to use your investment offer to scam others. I should have known better. Turn it off, I said. I've heard enough apologies. My phone rang. It was Rachel. You watching the financial news? Collins just resigned from 3 corporate boards. Stock prices are tanking for any company he was associated with. Good. I checked my calendar. The DA meeting's still on for this afternoon. Yes, and they're bringing in the FBI's Financial Crimes Unit. Apparently, Collins' creative accounting went deeper than anyone suspected. A knock at my door interrupted us. It was Michelle, a woman I'd met recently through my volunteer work at a support group for betrayed spouses. Sorry to interrupt, she said, but there's someone here you need to talk to. She stepped aside, revealing Collins' ex-wife, Amanda. I'd never met her before, but I recognized her from photos. Can we talk? Amanda asked quietly. I nodded, gesturing for her to sit. Everyone else filed out, leaving us alone. I saw the news, she started. About Collins, the fraud, everything. She paused, collecting herself. I wish I'd been as brave as you when I caught him cheating. What do you mean? He did the same thing to me. The affair, the manipulation, using my connections for his financial schemes. She smiled bitterly. When I confronted him, he convinced me I was crazy, made me doubt everything I knew. And now I'm watching him finally face consequences. She pulled out a folder. I have records from when we were married, financial documents that might help the investigation. I leaned forward. Why are you showing me this? Because you did what I couldn't. You exposed him. And now, she straightened her shoulders. Now I want to help make sure he can't do this to anyone else. My phone buzzed. Another text from Collins. The FBI? Really? You're going to let them destroy everything I built? I showed Amanda the message. She laughed. Still playing the victim. Some things never change. Ms. Gross? My assistant poked her head in. The DA's office is here early, and Allison is in the lobby. Send in the DA, I decided. Let Allison wait. Amanda stood to leave. I'll have my lawyer send over those documents. And Yesenia, she paused at the door. Thank you for being stronger than I was. After she left, I watched through my office window as Allison sat in the lobby, clutching her designer handbag, probably one of the last expensive things she owned. Her phone kept ringing. Likely creditors or angry investors. The DA entered with 2 FBI agents. We've been reviewing the evidence, he started. This goes beyond just the fake investment scheme. We're looking at years of financial fraud. I have more documents coming, I told them. From Colin's ex-wife. Perfect. One of the agents smiled. The more evidence, the better. My phone lit up with a news alert. Investment banker Collins, Rogers under federal investigation, multiple charges expected. Should we bring in your sister? The DA asked, noticing Allison in the lobby. I thought about it for a moment. No, let her sit there. Let her feel what it's like to wait for someone else to decide your fate. Cold, the agent commented, but fair. Speaking of fair, the DA added, we'd like to discuss your role as a key witness. The meeting continued, but my mind wandered to Allison, still waiting outside. She'd come expecting forgiveness, or maybe another chance to manipulate me. Instead, she was watching federal agents walk in and out of my office, knowing her world was crumbling even further. My phone buzzed one last time. A message from Collins's lawyer. My client is willing to confess to everything in exchange for leniency. I showed it to the DA, who smiled. Too late for deals. We have everything we need. Looking out at Allison again, I realized something. Revenge wasn't just about making them pay. It was about making sure they understood exactly what they'd lost. And judging by the tears now running down my sister's face, that message was finally getting through. Welcome to the first official meeting of Rising Phoenix. I addressed the room full of women. 6 months had passed since the exposure of Collins and Allison's schemes, and I'd transformed my experience into something meaningful. Michelle stood beside me, helping to organize our new nonprofit organization dedicated to supporting victims of betrayal and financial abuse. The conference room was packed with women, each with their own story of survival. I never thought I'd be standing here, I continued, but sometimes the worst betrayals lead us to our true purpose. A hand raised in the back. Is it true your husband is facing 20 years? Collins took a plea deal, I confirmed. 12 years, plus full restitution to all investors. As for my sister, I paused, remembering Allison's last court appearance. She's serving 5 years for her role in the fraud. But this isn't about them, Michelle jumped in. It's about all of us finding our strength. The door opened, and Rachel slipped in, followed by Amanda. They'd both become integral parts of Rising Phoenix, using their expertise to help other women protect themselves financially. Sorry we're late, Rachel announced. We were finalizing the grant proposal for our legal defense fund. A young woman in the front row raised her hand timidly. How did you find the courage to fight back? By realizing I had nothing left to lose, I answered honestly, and everything to gain by reclaiming my power. Speaking of power, Savannah entered, waving a newspaper. You all need to see this. She passed around copies of the business section. The headline read, Rising Phoenix Foundation revolutionizes support for fraud victims. Former lawyer turns personal tragedy into triumph. They interviewed me last week, I explained to the group. But this isn't just my story anymore. It's all of ours. Tell them about the legal clinic. Melvin called from the doorway. He'd become our legal advisor, helping women navigate the complex world of fraud cases and divorces. Right, I nodded. Starting next month, we'll be offering free legal consultations every Wednesday. Because knowledge isn't just power, it's protection. My phone buzzed. A message from the prison, where Collins was serving his sentence. Request for visitation, denied per victim's standing order. Still trying to reach you? Michelle asked, noticing my expression. Every month like clockwork. I put the phone away, but I'm not the same person he knew. I'm not anyone's victim anymore. A woman in her 50s stood up. My husband's been stealing from our accounts for years. After hearing your story on the news, I finally checked our finances. Her voice cracked. Thank you for showing me I'm not alone. You never were, I assured her. That's why we're here. Rachel started distributing folders. These packets contain everything you need to know about protecting your assets, documenting abuse, and building your support network. And remember, Amanda added, financial abuse leaves traces, always. You just need to know where to look. The meeting continued, with women sharing their stories and strategies. Some cried, others showed anger, but all of them displayed something I recognized: determination. Afterward, as we were cleaning up, Savannah pulled me aside. Letter came for you, from Allison. I took the envelope but didn't open it. Fifth one this month. You ever going to read them? Maybe someday, when they matter less. I tucked the letter into my bag. Right now, I'm focused on what's ahead, not what's behind. Michelle approached with a stack of new membership applications. We're going to need a bigger venue next week. Word spreading. Good, I smiled. The more women we reach, the more lives we can change. My phone lit up with a news alert. Rising Phoenix Foundation announces national expansion. Support network goes nationwide. Look at you, Savannah grinned. From victim to vigilante to nonprofit CEO. Who would have thought? I did, Rachel interjected. The moment she turned their own greed against them, I knew she'd do something bigger with it. The last of the attendees were leaving, many stopping to hug me or share a final word of thanks. Each story reminded me why this mattered, why the pain had led to purpose. Ms. Gross? My assistant appeared. The FBI wants to know if you'll consult on another financial abuse case. Apparently, your insights from the Collins case were invaluable. Tell them I'll call tomorrow. I looked around the room at my team. These amazing women who'd helped me turn revenge into redemption. Right now, we have more important work to do, like planning next week's workshop on digital financial tracking. Michelle grinned. Like helping other women find their voice, I corrected. Because the best revenge isn't just exposing the truth. It's using that truth to help others, Savannah finished. As we left the building, I caught my reflection in the window. The woman staring back wasn't broken or bitter. She was powerful, purposeful, and most importantly, free. Not just from Collins and Allison, but from the weight of their betrayal. My phone buzzed one last time. Another woman reaching out for help. I smiled as I answered, ready to show her the same truth I'd discovered. Sometimes the worst betrayals lead us exactly where we need to be. Ready for this? Savannah squeezed my hand as we stood outside the prison gates. As ready as I'll ever be. I straightened my blazer. This wasn't a social visit. I was here with the FBI to gather evidence for related cases. The guard led us through security to a small conference room, where Collins sat in his orange jumpsuit, looking significantly less polished than the banker he used to be. Yesenia, he breathed, starting to stand. Sit down, the FBI agent ordered. This isn't a reunion. I placed my briefcase on the table, maintaining eye contact with Collins. We need information about your offshore accounts and the other executives involved in your schemes. Just like that? No hello? No. You lost the right to small talk when you chose to betray everyone who trusted you. I pulled out documents. Start with these transactions. And if I refuse, then you serve your full sentence instead of getting consideration for cooperation. I leaned forward. Your choice. As Collins began talking, I noticed something different in his eyes. The manipulative charm was gone, replaced by defeat. He wasn't just broken, he was irrelevant. My phone vibrated. A text from Rachel. Turn on the news when you're done. Rising Phoenix just won the National Justice Award. Focus, I told Collins, who was trying to minimize his role in a particular fraud. We have the evidence. We just need you to confirm it. 3 hours later, we emerged with everything we needed. Outside the prison, Savannah handed me her phone. Someone else wants to talk to you. It was Michelle. The women from your first support group are here. They want to thank you in person. I'll be right there. I turned to the FBI agent. We done here? More than done. His information will help us take down 3 more fraud rings. He smiled. You've created quite a legacy, you know. The Rising Phoenix method is becoming standard procedure in financial abuse cases. Back at the Foundation's headquarters, I found the conference room filled with familiar faces. Women who'd gone from victims to survivors, many now helping others do the same. There she is, Amanda called out. Our warrior queen returns. How was he? Someone asked. Broken, irrelevant, exactly where he belongs. I set down my briefcase. But that's not why we're here. No, Michelle agreed. We're here because the grant came through. We can open 3 more offices across the country. Applause filled the room. A young woman stepped forward. Sarah, one of our first success stories. I filed for divorce today, she announced, and I'm keeping my house, my business, and my dignity. More cheers. This was what mattered now. Not revenge, but restoration. Melvin appeared in the doorway. Hate to interrupt the celebration, but there's someone here to see you. It was my mother, whom I hadn't seen since the scandal broke. She stood nervously in my office. I've been watching the news, she said quietly. Seeing what you've built, what you've become. She paused. I'm sorry I didn't believe you at first. About Collins and Allison. That's in the past. Is it? She pulled out a stack of Allison's prison letters. She sends these to me too, begging for forgiveness. And I finally told her the truth. That she and Collins didn't just betray you. They betrayed everything we taught them about family, about trust. She stepped closer. I'm proud of you, Yesenia. Not for the revenge, but for what you've created from it. My phone buzzed. Another news alert about Rising Phoenix. This time, it was different. Financial abuse survivors find hope through Revolutionary Support Network. That's your real revenge, isn't it? Mom smiled. Building something they can never touch or destroy. Rachel burst in. Sorry to interrupt, but we've got a situation. Remember that CEO we were investigating? His wife just showed up with evidence. Lots of it. I turned to my mother. Want to see what your daughter does now? She nodded, following me to the conference room, where a nervous woman clutched a USB drive like a lifeline. I'm Teresa, she introduced herself. I saw you on the news. You said we're not alone. You're not, I assured her, recognizing the fear in her eyes, the same fear I'd once felt. And after today, you never will be again. Looking around the room at these strong women, my mother, my friends, my colleagues, and this newest survivor seeking help, I finally understood something profound. Collins and Allison hadn't destroyed my life. They'd forced me to build a better one where betrayal became breakthrough, where victims became victors. Okay, I said, sitting down beside Teresa, let's talk about your future. Because that's what Rising Phoenix was really about. Not the ashes of what was lost, but the promise of what could be. And as Teresa began to share her story, I saw in her eyes what I now saw in my mirror every morning. Not a victim seeking revenge, but a phoenix ready to rise.